Okay, so this is everything, all the boards. Okay, so I have the city of Kingsport, Innsmouth and Dunwich, and you have good old Arkham here on the left. So let's start setting up the game, and this is where this reference sheet is invaluable, because now it will tell us what to do on the different boards when we set up the game. For instance, it says place a clue at each red diamond on the board. So we do that. Every location with a red diamond will get a clue. So I'm not going to do that on camera, but rather off camera, and I come back when I've finished. So straight away I made a change. I shuffled these boards so they are in alphabetic order: Dunwich, Innsmouth and Kingsport, because for some reason it doesn't say on the board what the name of the city is. And for me, I haven't played it much, so it's not so easy to separate out the boards immediately. That there are no clue tokens in Kingsport, none at all, which makes it interesting, I guess, but also not a very likely city for any investigators to end up in, because there's no clue to get there. So I wonder what the incentive for going to Kingsport would be. Now we will select investigators, and I thought that 4 investigators may be a good number because there's a lot of ground to cover. So let's have a look at the investigators. So you may or may know that there is a lot of investigators in this game. This is the stack of investigators. So I think it's 48, so I'm going to select them randomly. Yeah, I put all the investigators in 5 piles, and I'm going to flip over the piles, and I take the one that is face down here, and I am going to say that this is my reserve pile. If I for some reason would like to switch out one investigator, I will use the one that is on the bottom, or on the bottom of this pile of investigators. So let's see who we get. We are getting Norman Winters, he's an astronomer. Then we get Lola Hayes, she's an actress. The third investigator is George Barnaby, a lawyer. He's very sane and very low on stamina. And Daryl Simmons, which is a photographer, and he's not a good fighter either. So let me see if I want to change out one of these. Yeah, I'm actually going to switch out George Barnaby. I'm not going to use him. Instead, I'm going to use Leo Anderson, an expedition leader. Okay, yeah, this is my team of investigators. Okay, so I'm putting in the investigators on this table in a random order. Lola Hayes is my first player. So the reference sheet says that we will put personal stories into play. I think we go more into them when we get to know the characters just before the game starts. There are 24 ancient ones to battle, and I'm going to randomly pick one. I'm going to do I'm going to pick another one if I have played this one before, because there are so many ancient ones. There is no need to play them twice. I'm going to I haven't played this one before. The biggest problem with ancient bones are not their abilities, but their insanely strange name. That's the biggest threat. Okay, so we're going to play Ibzistl, and he wakes up on 11, so it seems like a tough guy. Let's also very quickly choose a herald. So there are 9 heralds, and I'm going to choose herald number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is it. It is the lurker. And at the same time I have 3 guardians. And I'm just going to randomly, closing my eyes, pick this one. It's Bust. So let's see what these guys bring to the table. The ancient one has worshippers, which are night gaunts. All the night gaunts have their toughness. No, they have their horror damage increased to 3 sanity. Oh, it also says when Yib Sistel, I'm just going to call him Yib. When Yib wakes, we lose all the clue tokens. He is all-seeing, he is in his slumber, and the difficulty of evade checks are increased by 1, and we can have no more than 5 clue tokens. His power is the number of clue tokens left on the board. Okay. First player rolls dice equal to his focus. Okay, so there's a special for the attacks. We're going to worry about that if he wakes up. He has a Herald, which seems to be the lurker at the threshold. It says that when the lurker is the Herald, we need to shuffle the Reckoning deck and place it by the Herald sheet. Then place the Dark Pact cards near the Herald sheet and create a pool of power tokens. Okay, so I have my box of every card sorted out already, so we don't have to do that. But we know that we will now playing with the Reckoning and the power cards, or the power tokens. He has some rites of magic. Whenever I want to cast a spell, I can accept the lurker's help. If I accept the help, I will reduce the sanity cost of the spell to 0, and I will pass the spell check. But I must take a Blood Pact, Soul Pact, or a Bound Ally card and follow the instructions. I must then draw and resolve a Reckoning card. Alright, I can never have more of each kind of Dark Pact. So whenever I cast a spell, I can take a pact which ensures the spell success, but at a cost. I can also take a pact at the start of any turn. The one beyond, it says that each time a gate opens, I need to draw and resolve a Reckoning card. Except at the start of the game. Okay, so that means that the Reckoning cards are going to be used a lot. So the last thing the lurker does is to make it a little bit easier to close and seal gates. I wonder if I can remember this pact cards. If I put them there, perhaps it's easier. Okay, so let's see what helps us. Bast is the protector of cats. He's the guardian. I need to place the beloved of Bast cards and Bast tokens near his sheet at the start of the game. His tokens looks like these cats. So I can get these tokens if I feed the cats in the streets of Arkham. But then I need to use all my focus during my next upkeep. And these Bast tokens really protect me from monster movement. Because if a monster will enter the same area as an investigator with a token, during the Mythos phase, the monster remains where it is instead. And also when the story continues card is drawn from the Mythos deck, if the first player has a Bast token or the Foolishness Ally, he discards the tokens and takes the Beloved of Bast card instead. So I have a cat protector that helps me. This is an invaluable card. It helps me remember the open gate limit, the monster limit, the outskirts limit, and the monster draw. Whenever I draw a monster, I need to draw one monster because this is a 4-player game. Yes, the game is set. So this is the investigators, well, part of it anyway, and Lola Hayes is going to start. So the background story for Lola is that she has been in the asylum. She checked herself into the asylum and realized while she was there that there were some weird things going on. She starts with 4 stamina, 6 sanity. She's an actress. She has a nice skill that she can discard one of her skill cards to draw another one from either the top or the bottom of the deck, and she can always check the bottom of the deck. This is during upkeep. I'm going to, well, she starts at the Arkham Asylum, and she starts with 2 cool tokens. So Lola has all of this stuff. She has a Derringer already, which gives her +2 to combat. In addition, she is getting randomly during setup a physical weapon, a Thame, which looks like a knife, gives her +1 to combat. But if the opponent is resistant to magic, she will get +3, and if it's immune to magic, she will get +6, which is a fantastic weapon. Absolutely fantastic. She will also have a spell, Shriveling, which is also fantastic because this will modify her combat checks to a +6. Flute of the Outer Gods. She can lose 3 sanity and 3 stamina to play this flute, and that will automatically have her succeed a combat check. So she is very combat oriented. Her skill, oh, it's dodge. So when she makes a speed check, she gets +1 to each die. Okay, so that's, I'm not sure how useful that is, but she's quite combat oriented. She has a personal story though. The background for this story is that she is trying to find her lost members of her act, because she's an actress. Let's play the thing. It's her story, her personal story. If she gets an ally, she succeeds. And if there are 4 more doom tokens on the track, she fails. And she wants to succeed with this plate thing because she can get a +1 to a check afterwards, every check I think. And she's heavily hit in the sanity department if it fails. Lola knows Leo Anderson from before. The relationship card, it's courageous. Let's see, courageous inspirations. She and Leo can exhaust this card to get a +1 to a horror check. So that brings us to Leo. So Leo was on an expedition to the Yucatan when something happened, and people are dying, and he found some tablets, and people that are trying to interpret the tablets are dying, and people that were on the expedition are dying, so something is definitely going on. He has some money and 2 clues, and he has an ally. He has Ashenat Wait, gets +1 and he gets +1 to sneak and +1 to speed. And it says he gained $10 when Ashenat Wait joins Shu. I'm not sure if that happens during setup, I will check. That's a very good ally. In addition, he has a skill which is he's a criminal, really. And he becomes the member of the Sheldon gang. He has the press pass, and he can get an extra clue token. The sad thing is that the Great Old One only allows us to have 5 clue tokens, but okay. And he also has some fine clothing. And that means that every skill check in Arkham is at a +1. But he has to lose that when he loses his stamina. Leo, he starts at the river docks. Well, he doesn't really have anything to fight with, so perhaps his mission is to get some weapons. So I'm setting his speed at 3, that will get him to some shops. His fight, going to keep it at 2, yeah. Something like that. Oh, I need to give him a Sheldon member card. So our good friend, the expedition leader, is also a criminal. He's a member of the Sheldon gang, so he can roll a die and he can actually get arrested, or nothing happens. He can gain some money or a common and unique item. I guess he commits some criminal activity, like a break-in. So Leo has a new mission. He needs 3 or more allies to gather up a crew for his new mission. But if one of the investigators is devoured, he loses his mission. And that's nice because then he basically can use his allies as clue tokens if he passes this test. Leo knows Daryl Simmons from before. Skullcrackers. Daryl or Leo may exhaust this card before a combat check to gain +1 to that check. I guess there's some kind of brotherhood, the Skullcrackers. Well, it fits very well with Leo Anderson's current setup, being a criminal and member of the Sheldon gang. He also is a member of some brotherhood or some... Well, he can crack some skulls for sure. He's a tough guy. So it seems like Daryl Simmons is the same kind of guy. Oh, I forgot to mention that Leo can also prevent 1 point of stamina being lost from any investigator or 1 sanity. Well, Daryl Simmons is a photographer. So he has been around investigating in his capacity as a reporter. And he sees strange things happening in this city. He starts only with 1 clue token, but he has a retainer. Let's see what else he has. He gets during setup a carbine rifle. He gets +1 speed as a skill. He has the Staff of the Pharaoh, which is a magical weapon, +3 to combat. Because the staff here is a 2-handed weapon, you can exhaust the staff instead of attacking with it and then cast a spell. Yep, he doesn't start with a spell though, but he has the Lamp of Al-Sared, which is a magical weapon. So he is magically oriented, but also has a physical weapon. That's a very good starting equipment for Daryl. He is starting at the newspaper, and he can get to a clue within the speed of 3. So Daryl has a special advantage when he encounters a location in Arkham. He can draw 2 cards and look at one of them. Assuming that also is valid for the towns of Kingsport and Innsmouth. I will check that as well. So he has found a scoop, photographic scoop. And if he has evidence, provide the editor with the evidence of this phenomenally, well, it's an ancient one, I guess. The evidence, then if he presents the evidence to the editor, then he will get a retainer. He needs 2 more gate trophies, but if he gets too many clues, he will fail. Again, Daryl has a relation with Norman Winters. They are both practitioners of the art. Will help with spell check, but also you can use the sanity from Norman Winters and vice versa, because they are both members of this. Well, they're both practitioners of the art. Being an astronomer, Norman Winters has studied the stars and noticed that the stars have started to vanish, so he's a little bit freaked out by that. He has found that there is a beast that is responsible for all of this, and he now is on a quest to stop this beast from awakening, and we all know the name of the beast, but I can't pronounce it because it's so difficult. So let's have a look at his starting setup. So he actually starts with a lot of clues, 3 clues and 3 bucks as well. He has a spell already called Find Gate. So with this he can immediately return to Arkham from the other world, so that is great. It will help him speed up the process of closing gates. So he's a good gate closer, fantastic. He has a skill, which is bravery. Apparently he's quite brave. He can reroll a horror check by exhausting this card. The other spell he has is the Mist of Relay. So you can cast this spell and succeed in an evade check. He has a unique item, which is some ritual candles. Candles? Really? Come on. Okay, so we can light the candle and it will start to burn, and as long as it burns, it will burn up to 4 rounds. All investigators get +2 to spell checks. The last thing he has is a normal item or a common item, kerosene. Okay. So he can use this to put the monster on fire, but he has to pay to get it back. Okay, that's very interesting. He is on a personal mission. Let's have a look at that. So Norman is apparently studying the disappearance of the stars. So if he gets 3 or more gate trophies, he will succeed. but he cannot get lost in time and space. If Norman succeeds, if he gets 3 or more gate tokens, he can actually prevent the Great Old One or the Ancient One to wake up. That's a very nice ability. Norman has a relationship with Lola Hayes, the first player. It's take me instead. He can sacrifice himself for Lola and vice versa, but they have to be in the same location for that to happen. That is very unlikely, I think. One more thing before we start. I randomly drew an institution card from the Miskatonic University expansion, the Miskatonic Horror expansion. And the institutions in play are fittingly organized crime. So after everybody has gotten their stuff during setup, they can now choose to pay $3 to get a retainer, if they don't have it already, or be a member of the Sheldon gang. Money is quite tough to come by in this game. I think a retainer is nice to have, but I'm not sure if the Sheldon gang is worth it. Yeah, okay. Well, Leo Anderson is already a member of the Sheldon gang due to his setup. So he will pay $3 and he's getting a retainer. Lola is paying $3 as well and takes a retainer. And also the good photographer is getting a retainer. Oh, he has a retainer already. Oops. Well, he's not getting a Sheldon gang. Yeah, why not? He's doing that. He's paying for the Sheldon gang membership. And the good astronomer, well, he is going for the retainer with all his money. Forgot to mention that Norman Winters can choose the symbol on the gates when he closes the gate, so he can actually choose which type of monsters is going to disappear. Right. Also, these organized crime guys have some other effects. Instead of being arrested, you can pay $3, and if he gets down to, well, on the low levels of stamina and sanity, he can pay to get something back in the streets, and he can buy stuff from the black market. He can take a chance and draw a common item and just buy it. Let's put these people on the board and start the game. So Norman starts in the administration. Daryl in the newspaper. Lola just out of the asylum, she starts in the asylum. And Leo starts at the river docks. Briefly want to introduce the ancient whispers from the Curse of the Dark Pharaoh, which will move around, and we can go there to interact and to get some special encounters and items relating to the exhibition of the Egyptian artifacts that are in this town. We need to put on these act cards from the Curse of the... from the King in Yellow. We are now in the Overture, and when we get an environment card, a mystic environment card, we are going to play at Act 1. So I made myself some space here, where I'm placing the Overture, the gate markers, 11 allies, and then we should draw the first card, Mythos card, and resolve it. If you have seen my blog entry or video about fixing setup time of Arkham Horror, you will have seen this case before. This is every card that we're going to use in the game. It's every card in the game sorted out in one box. So whenever I need a specific card, I just go directly to that place and pick it up. For instance, locations are all here. South side, I pick up this deck and so forth. So we'll see this in play. And I sorted out the gate cards and the Mythos cards according to expansion, which tells me then I need to figure out which expansion to draw from. What I've done, I made this table. I need to roll 2 dice, 2 d10s, and assigned, well, I basically pick a random number between 1 and 100, and that will tell me from which expansion I want to pick that Mythos card. The red die is the first number and the black die is the second number. So this is actually 96. And 96 tells me that I need to draw from the Kingsport Horror expansion. Having a look at all the Mythos cards, I'm going to the Kingsport Horror. So because this is the first time, I will shuffle the deck. I will draw the top card and we'll flip over the card. Tells us we need to open a gate at the woods. Then a clue appears at the independent square. And there's some monster movement. Let's do that. So the woods is here in the southern part of Arkham. We'll take the first gate marker and it will eat up the clue that was there already. We flip it around and it's a gate to another dimension. We'll put the clue up at independent square, which is right here on the northern parts of Arkham. That's the independent square, making it even more interesting to go there for Lola. So I think she has her target set for the first round. So let's have a brief look at this gate marker to find out what it means. We see that there's no modifier for closing the gate, +0, but there's an arrow underneath tells us that this is a moving gate. So whenever this square is activated, it will move as if it was a monster, so we can go out in the streets. And of course, if it ends up in the same place as an investigator, he will be sucked through the gate. And since the gate has opened in Arkham, we need to go into the monster cup. Just, can you see now? Well, this bag is filled with monsters. So, I'm going to randomly draw a monster from the monster cup. And it do seem like this gate has spawned a witch. Oh, she is resistant to magic. There is no horror involved in encountering her, but she is quite tough on the modifier for combat. She has a -3. Toughness is 1, and she will hit you for 2 damage. The witch is a round monster, has a round symbol. I'm going to put her on her stand. And we see that round monsters are moving according to white arrows and squares are moving according to the black arrow. A lot of location, both arrows point in the same direction, so the witch will actually move into uptown, and the gate, because it's moving and it's a square, it will move black. So they're both out in the uptown streets. So they both moved into uptown streets. So a gate has opened, the doom track is starting to fill up. So what else does this card tells us? Pickpocket ring at large. It's a headline. Each investigator must make a lock -1 check. Any investigator fails must either discard his most expensive item or lose all his money. Luckily, Lola has 4 luck. And a lock -1. 4 -1 is 3 dice. Looking for 5 or 6s. Now these dice are custom dice, so successes are marked with elder signs, while failures are not. So we need 1 elder sign. She passes without any doubt. That's 3 successes. Phenomenal. Leo Anderson, number 2, has also 4 luck. Same goes for him. He fails. His most expensive items are both a press pass and some fine clothing. I guess I get to choose then, but I really don't want to lose any of them. So instead, he's going to lose $2, which was all his money. Now it's Daryl. He also has 4 luck. And 4 minus 1 is 3 for him as well. Let's see some successes. Yep, 1 success. So he passes the test. Well, Norman Winters, I decided he didn't need any luck, so he only has 2 luck. 2 minus 1 is 1. So he will roll 1 die. But he passes the test. Excellent. Well then, that was setup. And we are now ready to start the first round. I'm going to stop now and I'll see you in the next episode.